Hey guys, it's Candice, Trinice, and Fee, and this is VGB. And today we're talking about one of our absolutely favorite shows.
Absolutely favorite.
This
Not
is
absolute,
us.
but absolutely favorite.
This
Literally.
is us. Do you see
Literally. So let's just deal with it now. Everybody, we know we've been gone. We're on spring break. We're back. We know you guys have missed us. We
Thanks
got
for
in the
missing us,
comments and
guys.
the emails and the verbal.
that? We miss you.
Here she goes. But yes, we're back from spring break. We've had some finales going on. We have some premieres happening, so we'll be talking about all of that. You said what?
Indeed.
Oh, indeed. So yes, now we are on This Is Us, and it has now concluded season 3. A lot has happened since last time. I got to shout out Denasia. She hit us on Instagram.
Hey, girl.
And she was like, I need y'all to talk about This Is Us.
Thank you,
And
girl.
basically, I was just like, it's so much. It's so emotional. It's such an emotional show. We need time. I don't know if y'all feel this way, but like after you watch it, you just got to sit back and be like,
Yeah.
what just happened to me? Somebody just said this show is just sad for no reason.
This show is not sad. This show is life, honey.
It is.
Life at
It's
its finest,
definitely
though.
life.
I think it's sad for people who don't take the time to see beyond the moments of sadness and understand that every moment of happiness is not a lit moment.
Right.
Because there are so many victories in the show. And, we was talking to Red Couture.
Yeah.
And he was all like, oh, this show is just too sad for me. It's just like, I already got to live my own life. I don't need to be going through somebody else's pain. But it's like, if you go through it, you get through it.
Right.
And
But
it's
and it gives you a
just good
great
stuff.
example of how to get through some stuff also.
Exactly.
So, I mean, people watch it because it can give you some ideas. I'm just saying, really, like, legit. Like, y'all be calling me. Watch the show.
Y'all be calling me. Boom. Wow. But no, I do think this show deals with a lot of relevant, timely, and what's the word? It just is like
No, I'm
of
not
all
good with that.
time. All time.
Cool.
Not Cool, no. It's relevant in all times. So like regardless of if you watch this as a young person, or I feel like it hits every demographic because it's something for everybody. Like with the kids, like they can relate. Like when I was a child, maybe it's generational. But it's like when we see the children and seeing their emotion and things like that, it's like, oh, at that point I understand you being scared or you felt this way, and then to see them growing up, it might let a child that's watching it say, oh, this
But
is
you know what else? It really deals with, as Beyonce said, cyclical trends.
Oh, yeah, it
Because,
does. It definitely
girl,
does. Generational
When
curses are real.
R&B had that argument.
We
and
just
he
gonna
thought
jump
back-
right
yes,
there?
we are. Yes, we are.
Oh, my God. No,
I
we
can't
need.
believe she just going.
Because it just meant when you said generations, when I said generations and you agreed to the generations, it just made me think about that and how he thought back to that moment. But we can get there. We'll
Okay.
get back there. So, where do y'all want to start?
I don't even be like that.
Okay. So I just think, it's just so much to cover.
I know.
So much. I think the easiest would be maybe we start Kevin and Zoe.
Okay.
Only because, I feel like it's a lot less to unpack there.
Okay. Kevin and Zoe.
Okay,
I never thought they would make it.
Really?
I never thought they would make it.
Wow.
One, I mean, I didn't think that they were going to make it based off of what Beth said.
That Zoe was going to chew him up and spit him out?
Yes.
But you didn't think Zoe was changing?
But no, I don't think that she was changing. I think that, how can I say this? Like, I don't know if Beth knew who she had already become all the way, but I think that she knew that it was some parts of her that were not going to ever change. Like, I think that I believe people can change, clearly. But I think that there are some parts of them that are just always going to be them.
Because that's what makes them who they are.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that within their relationship, I think that Kevin is finally understanding who he wants to become and starting to see what he wants out of life. And I think that he's looking at all these relationships around him and realizing, I didn't wasted my life, long enough type of thing. And I want something more stable. And I think because she was there in some very pivotal moments in his life, that he thought that she was it, because I think what happened was he's probably thinking in his mind that he lost Sophie,
Yeah. And yeah.
which was, but even in the moments of him being with Zoe, when he thinks about good moments in his life, the show always reverts back to moments with Sophie.
That is true.
So
But that's his first love, though. So I mean,
yeah.
His first, his second, his third.
Yeah.
So, and when she told him, she gave him out, about the kids. When she said, if you think that, I want kids, I don't.
I don't.
Yeah. And, because I think that she is very career driven, and, some people just don't want kids. And I could just see, not that that's your real person, girl, but just in
Just
your
the character,
character,
yes.
because, I know how to separate. Just in her character, you could just see it all over her that kids is just not, she would be just that fabulous aunt. You know how you had them aunts in your
She
life that's
is.
just, and she's really good at it, but she's one of them people to be like, I want to be able to return to your kids.
Like
So,
me.
and I don't think that
Love
he
returning
clearly, yeah, you do. I clearly, he clearly thought that she would change into this other person because he sees the relationship with her with other children, but I just didn't see it. I just don't see no growth there. No growth, girl. She just want to be who she want to be and accept who people are. And be okay to deal with it.
The thing that really, I think, got him was when he said, my mother didn't want kids either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. When we first met Rebecca and Jack, she was like, I don't want no kids.
Mm-hmm.
Until he knocked her up in that bathroom in that bar and that's during that Steelers game. And it was just like, okay, this is what it is now. And even down to adopting a child.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, yeah, you said that, but now that's not what you are. And sometimes people do find a compromise or find themselves, and Kevin said it so beautifully when he was talking to Tess, and he said that in certain parts of, like, in life, you meet certain people and they teach you you learn to find pieces of yourself in those moments, and you're just trying to get as many pieces as you can and piece yourself together. And I was just like, this is just a beautiful talk. He's ready to be a dad right now.
Right.
But and so I think until Rebecca met Jack, maybe she was like, that's not for me. This is not what I want. But meeting him did unlock that part of her that's like, you know what? I actually do. This is something that I do want. Now, is that for everybody? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying in Kevin's mind, he's thinking that he has that piece to unlock that in Zoe. So it's like, yeah, you saying it, but I know once because sometimes people feel like, how if you don't like something, people be like, well, you ain't have mine.
Right. I do it all
it's
the time.
like, no, I don't like it, period.
I think that people give you clues to that they'll change, though. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like in a lot of their relationship parts that she didn't change, she didn't move in certain things. I just feel like
that way.
I do. Like, I mean, well, maybe just far as business wise, I just feel like she was like, this is where I am, and
I don't know, because she
that's
stepped
it.
up a lot when we found out he was drinking again. Spoiler alert: Kevin is drinking again.
Kevin, no.
And when she when she found out he fell off the wagon, I didn't think that she was willing to do that with him. Because when she talked to Beth, she was like, he's drinking vodka. That's what's in his water bottle. They had that whole conversation, and I was just like, oh, she is not for it. Like, she's not here for going through this with you again, because she just doesn't, like, if you don't want, she don't have time for this.
Right.
Literally, like, she didn't even want to unpack that whole time when she was dating him, because she's like, basically, I'm not going to make myself comfortable here because I'm not sure if this is going to be something that is going to last.
Which is something that she changed on. So I don't
Exactly. She did change on that. She unpacked her stuff and everything after she said she wasn't going to.
And she opened up and told him about what
about
happened to
her
her.
abuse and everything.
There are that's a lot. Now, maybe she does feel strong in one thing, and that's about having children. But she has grown a lot in their relationship, I would like to say. She even uprooted herself for a moment and went to Vietnam. So
Yeah, I mean, even I just think even with that, she may have went for him, but I think that the underlying thing was she went because she wanted business stuff for business. So I just don't think that it was just all about him. I think
It's
that
never all about the other person.
But he did help to motivate her to do that.
okay. I mean, I can give y'all that.
So I guess my question,
Anything.
my question in that scenario would be: should you stay with somebody if y'all want different things out of life? And we know what you say. You know, you got to take them how if they never change.
If they never change, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you know my answer to I just think. Well, you guys don't know my little saying, but I say, when you with a person, if they stay how they are right now and they never change, can you live with that? And because I think sometimes in relationships we go in thinking, oh, I can change this person, and ultimately if they don't want to change, if they don't see a need for a change, they are not going to change. You can want them to change all you want. Now, however, I do agree that when you are with different people, it does bring different things out of you to make you want to change, but ultimately it has to be their desire. So I think you have to see some productivity. I had to say that word slow
Okay.
like that, you guys, so I could really say it correctly. Um, within them, to be able to say this is I'm willing to stay.
So you always wanted to get married.
No, I didn't always want to get married. We know this.
So what made you change that?
I every time you ask me this question, I really don't know. I mean, I guess I could say it was him to help me.
So what? Because then when you first entered into a relationship with him, marriage wasn't on your mind.
No,
Right.
no, because I was more focused on work and focused on trying to figure out who I was and getting my life together because. You know, I had a hard child life. You know, this is a sad moment, guys. It's like, but no, you know, I just had it hard. So it was really hard for me to let somebody in to say they were going to take care of me because everyone that said it didn't follow through. So when it was me, you know, it was like, no, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. So nobody could take it from me. So it took a while for that to, you know, sink in that, hey, oh, maybe this guy is real.
The thing about it is, I think that the point is, with what she says to us and with what your question is, you can stay if you want to, but you cannot expect that person to change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you can, you know, do everything that you can do in being you. And if they feel like, oh, you know what, I love this person, I'm going to go ahead and change, then fine. But you can't turn around and hate them because they didn't change. You can't blame them because they didn't change, and you cannot make them change.
Right.
So that's what you have to deal with.
That's true. Because a lot of people resent people in relationships because of expectations that are not expressed. So it's like, you know, I expect you to be this sort of man, woman, but I'm not going to tell you that because you should know it. You should know dealing with me what I expect.
Right.
But half the time people don't know. Or they don't understand the magnitude to what you expected. And so all this time, it's like, you know, it's my birthday. I expect him to throw me a party. And never once did you say I want a party.
Right.
But you felt like you was throwing out clues because you like pictures on Instagram. Or you said, oh, look at this party on TV. To somebody else, that doesn't mean anything to me because
I tell people a lot that assumption is the biggest killer of relationships. You just can't assume things. Like, I know for me, when I finally did, you know, decide to get married. But before we did, we had talks. And like one of my prime things was, one, I didn't want to, even when we got married, I didn't want to have kids for at least 3 years because I wanted to get to know him as a husband because when you're dating, it's just not the same. So, so he was fine with that. And then I told him once I did have kids, I really did not want to have to work. Because I wanted to be with my children.
That's so crazy.
oh, we gotta get into that. We gotta get into that.
I wanted to be with them during like the early years of
The formative years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
So now they grown, you can work like a slave.
Yes.
yeah,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
then the other thing was I wanted to not be able to work like once they hit high school because I think that people forget Like I just think that the beginning, even though the middle is important too, don't get me wrong, but I just think that the beginning of it and then them entering into adulthood is vital parts of their life. So like, yeah, I'm working right now. But like when my oldest hits high school, I don't want to because I want to have that access.
Well, hurry up, oldest.
Well,
So that but those are things, that you have to discuss. And this is the thing. I think that a lot of times people don't discuss things because they really do want the relationship, but they really don't want to know the real answer to it because they really don't want the relationship to fall apart.
Yeah,
but
that's like
fear.
Portia kept saying, I'm not asking no questions about
She
my
did say
man
that. She
Right.
because I'm happy with where I am. And when you start asking the questions, you get answers that you don't like.
And she said, "There's other girls that was asking questions, and where they at now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nowhere."
But when you think about it, if you don't ask them now, you'll ask them later. And like you said, you'll have that regret. So that's how I feel about Kevin and Zoe.
Well,
Interesting. So I think on the other end of on being the person that may not want to change, I think that you do have a responsibility if you don't feel yourself changing, because I think that you can feel yourself changing. Like, as you begin to, as you continue in the relationship, you would probably be like, you know what?
not
I'm
so
growing,
bad.
I'm more open to this.
Yes.
Who said it's not so bad? Did you say that?
She said that.
Because that's just a horrible thing to say.
I mean,
Let's
I say
go with
stuff like
something
that
more
too.
positive. Like,
eh.
this is nice. I like this.
I see the benefits of this perspective.
Not
Yeah.
so bad.
I guess it'll work.
Right. But anywho, if you know that you're not changing, if you know that, you know what, I'm trying to do this, but I still feel the same, you have a responsibility to keep that same energy and let that person know, because let them love somebody else that's up there.
That's true.
It's not fair to hold on to somebody else that belongs to somebody else if you're not for them.
And I respect Zoe for doing that, because
Yeah.
when she noticed, like, first of all, he kept bringing it up, and that was so annoying to me. Like, just randomly, like, oh, you would be able to brew coffee for 20 minutes if we had a baby. So I clearly don't want one, but you still talking about it. So clearly you do. And she asked him, she was like, so you want to talk about it? He was like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And then when he brought it back up, when they were watching the girls, and he was like, you're so good with them. I know you're going to be great with our kids, blah, blah, blah. She was like, look, again, I don't want children.
Right.
And I see that that's what you want, and I love you enough to let you have what you want.
Exactly.
And I like, people need to understand that, because sometimes people think love is control. And if she really is like, I love him, I'm gonna stay with you because I don't want to lose you.
Right.
But I'm gonna make you. And again, resentment's gonna enter.
Exactly.
I'm gonna make you think that this is what I want, but it's never gonna happen.
Right.
And I think that, like, that's so selfish.
It's cruel.
And it's just gonna no healthy relationship is built that way.
Right.
So when she told him, and she was just like, look, I can't give you what you want, but you do deserve it. So yes, us breaking up is gonna hurt you, but it's gonna hurt you more. She didn't say this part, I'm ad-libbing. It's gonna hurt you more if I stay with you and deny you what you need. Because now this is past a want. Like, this is something that he needs to fulfill him as a person. Because he keeps saying it. Like, fatherhood is a part of my identity that I want.
Right.
To,
And then
explore.
and the crazy part about it is, now that I think about it, she probably, and even like say she would have got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? But then the resentment would be on her end, because she'd be like, here it is, I'm a mother, and this is not what I wanted out of my life.
Kids.
It's true.
And
It's
I
a
wish
lot
they
of
go
women.
back to
And
school.
your children can definitely feel that.
But yeah, I also think that it's a lot easier for men to express that they don't want. Like, there's a lot of men that's like, look, I told you I didn't want that baby, and I paid for it to be gotten rid of.
Right.
But, like, legit, I've heard men say this. But for a woman, it's like, oh, you're a bad person if you say you don't want kids, or if you don't show a maternal instinct, or if you like, look, go be with your father. It devalues you as a woman and not just as a mother.
Right.
Whereas for a man, it's not the same.
You're supposed to be nurturing.
Right.
And
so men can be like,
and stuff like that.
I don't really want to deal with this kid right now, and then come in their life when they like, you know.
You know what? There was a question going around one time.
What was it?
On the social media.
The internets.
That said, if you paid for an abortion and the woman didn't get one, are you still responsible for that baby since you paid to get rid of it? I don't know how I feel.
You said, and you didn't get one?
So if somebody paid to get an abortion, like the person got pregnant, and she told the man, hey, I'm pregnant, he's like, I don't want the kid, we agree, you're gonna get an abortion, and he gave her the money to get an abortion. She goes to get it, and then she's like, you know what, I changed my mind, and doesn't get it.
Oh,
She has the baby.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I would say.
Ooh, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, honey.
Well, I would say I think that even though it's something that you didn't want, because the child is here, it's not their fault.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would still say you should be in their life because, you know, I mean, but then again, it's rough.
It's really hard. Yeah, it's a case.
If you're gonna be toxic to the child and you don't want it, then you're not gonna let it grow in love. You know, maybe give it up for adoption. That's always an option. Adoption is an option.
It just depends.
It's not an option if the mother still want it.
Well,
right, because that's the thing. So
she wanted the baby, and he didn't. Is basically what y'all saying.
Yes. And now she down.
So now he finds out that she had the baby.
Yeah, because he don't know.
So he wants child. She wants.
He's under the assumption that the baby is not existing.
Oh, I would not want to be a judge on that case. I mean, you would definitely have to go down to the law.
He paid to get rid of that baby. So
he could sue her.
He probably could sue her, but
it's not even about suing her. It's just about it's not my responsibility.
But then the point is like, but then say he changed though, and then you know he feel like I want to be a father, you know, to this child.
But the issue is I don't want none of this. That's the issue. And I don't think that it's his fault or his responsibility at this point.
I mean, anytime you have sex, you have that could happen. That's one of the possibilities. Pregnancy is a possibility if you have heterosexual sex.
And the sad part about it is the child is going to be...
Yeah, so it's just like, I feel like...
guess what? As women, we feel like we have all the power over it because it's our body. Yes, it's our body, but that baby is half someone else's. And in the Bible, they said, rip that thing in half.
Oh, God.
And if not, then you know what? That's the one it belongs to.
No.
Keep it. That's how they wanted to see who was the real mother. And, of course, the real mother stood up.
I know that.
Rip that thing in half. That is not what they said.
Jeez.
So they didn't say
to
do that?
The story was basically this. A mother was lying. She lost her baby, and she stole another lady's baby. So the judge basically said, since we can't figure out who the mother is, let's cut the baby in half.
Right.
Knowing that the real mother would say, I'd rather spare my child's life than to prove a point.
Right.
And so when he said to do that, the mother was like, no, she can have it. And then he was
that's
like,
how he
okay,
knew.
this is the real mother.
Okay, so... As I stated, they said rip that baby in half, and the real mother got it.
Oh, God.
So this is my point.
Rip that baby in half and the father stand up.
Exactly. It's like, abort that baby. I don't want it. So first of all, I'm not even pressuring this person to be in my child's life. I don't even want nothing from this person. And I just don't think that it's fair. Like, it's like, if we are about to go out to eat and we like, you know what, we going half on this, and then I'm like, you know what, actually, I'm good. I don't want nothing. And then the bill come and you expect me to split that bill with you halfway? No. I told you I don't want nothing.
Why did you go to dinner?
Exactly. Babies
you
are not
food.
For the fellowship.
Then that should be stated in the beginning. It shouldn't change
while
you're in the midst of it.
Every time you have sex, there's a possibility you can have there could be pregnancy.
I don't want no children. I just want
sex.
Exactly.
No. Okay, that's something that comes with it.
Oh my God, I'm off this topic.
God, no.
This ain't even nothing related to what we talking about.
It literally is. And if you out here raw dogging, that's a whole different situation.
Different.
We just not. That's. Hopefully y'all can answer that question.
Yeah, let us know how you guys feel because we got some strong views.
You see how she feels. I just think, like you said, I would, if the mother wants the child, then understand that you're taking that on yourself.
Yeah.
You and your support system in your village.
That's
now,
what I'm saying.
If the father decides, if his heart is so moved where he has changed and he's like, you know what, I do want to be in this child's life. I've discovered that this child exists. I want to be in their life. Then what? That's on a case by case basis.
I just think that this. What I'm saying is I just think that the man. I just think that a man.
Example, he don't want nothing to do with them, and with that question. But when she said that, I was like, then yeah, but we wouldn't have this issue at that point.
I think that when a man finds out that he has a seed out here, some men, not saying that you're not a man if you don't do this, but some men automatically just step up. Like, you know, I mean. it's mine. So I gotta do what I have to
There
do.
are thousands that have not. But
Of
we're
course.
getting
There
far
are
away from the
thousands
question.
that have not.
I'm sorry,
But come on,
millions.
millions. All right, go ahead.
Trillions
Move on to the
even.
next thing. 'Cause we'll be here forever.
Yes, we will. That is just Candace brought the internet to it. Whole different situation.
And we don't want no problems, honey. I just
I said what I said. Come at me.
come at me, bro.
As my godfather say, if you want to meet me outside, we can.
oh my god.
What y'all think about Kevin drinking again?
It was bound to happen.
Wow.
I mean, I did. I saw it coming because it was sometimes. First of all, I feel like he did not get the right support. He did not stay focused on his support system, as far as whether his support system was going to his meetings or talking to his family members, whatever his support system was. I think that is a very important task, and to have that person to talk to when you are in them dire needs of feeling like you're going to do something that you necessarily don't want to do.
A sponsor.
Yeah, a sponsor. But I mean, yeah,
Period.
well, since we're talking about him drinking, yes. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like when you're in that headspace, you definitely need them people over that you can tap into, and I feel like he did not utilize what he had. So for that reason, I knew
Didn't
that.
have it.
What you mean he didn't have it? He did
Because
have
this
it.
because this is what you have to understand. I'm not sure if you've ever been an addict before.
Yes, I have.
But you're not going to want to go and talk to the people, letting them. The reason why you have a sponsor when you are in AA is because that person has been through it. And yeah, you may not want to let that person down, but the backlash he received from his family, even though it was support, it was overwhelming. He couldn't just be honest with them while he Sorry, let me explain to you guys why we're using this word. What is it? Literally.
Literally, yeah.
So we were in the car talking, and one of the boys tried to say literally, and he couldn't. He just kept saying literally.
Literally.
So when we say literally, we know what we're talking about.
That is
But just to let y'all in on the inside jokes. So he literally sat there with a Dasani water bottle and drank probably Tito's vodka since it's gluten free, and he is an actor.
Is that an ad? Did they pay you for that spot?
No, but he would probably like
Since
something
it's
like
gluten
that.
free.
So he was obviously far too embarrassed to receive that support. And he obviously, as most addicts do, think that, you know what, this is fine. We're going to get through it. We're just going to go to rehab. We're just going to go to counseling. We're going to talk it out. But in that moment when things got overwhelming for him, I think that, first of all, he went to rehab. So he did do things in order to
What I said
Get his
was he
life.
did not stay
What I said was
consistent with it.
Because he went to rehab. He didn't go to AA meetings is what I'm saying. And that's where she said a sponsor. That's where the sponsors come from. You get a sponsor when you go to those AA meetings.
because
So he didn't have a sponsor, which is something separate.
It's different when you have people that, okay, you let this sponsor down, but what is their disappointment compared to your family's disappointment?
It's
So,
But
and then,
what I said was he did not stay with any of those things. You asked why. You was basically asking why, and I'm telling you because he did not stay with any of these things.
Because he never went to AA. He just went to rehab. And once you go to rehab, that's it. You're
After
out
that,
there. You're
yeah.
done.
Listen,
no, I'm sure that they told him, you know, after this, you should probably go
exactly.
to AA meetings.
It is
He
your
didn't follow
responsibility.
up.
Thank you.
Okay,
It is
I
your
can agree to that.
responsibility to do that. He did not stay consistent or stay focused. So he honestly set himself up is what I'm saying, because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He didn't call on people when he needed them. And trust me, I understand that it's very hard to do, but if you want to stay on task, those hard things, those hard moves you have to do. And when you do not, it is easier for you to fall into a thing of saying, oh, I could just have this one and it'll be okay.
So I think that what he replaced his habit with, because that's when an addiction is a habit, he went right into that Vietnam thing with his father, and then he went right into trying to save Nikki.
Yeah.
And in that moment of being rejected, which
Oh,
is
that's
what
exactly
a
what
lot of
happened.
his life
Exactly.
has been an issue with, he was alone in that moment of rejection when Nikki did not want him. So because he was alone right there, that is when things began to fall down. And after that first hit, it's just like, that's it. It's just it, honestly. Like, You
And
guys gotta be
then
very careful.
also
So
in that moment, before he took that first drink, he told them, "This is y'all putting everything on me. This is a lot for me." He told Randall, "You're leaving to go do this," and Kate was like, "Look, I'm pregnant. I'm
Right.
out of here." So in that moment, he went to his support, but he didn't feel like he was getting what he needed, and they were not giving him what he needed because they did have other things going on. Did they know that this was going to be the straw that led him back to the bottom?
oftentimes you don't know.
No, they didn't know. But he was reaching out to say, this is something that I'm passionate about. I want to do this. And everybody was basically like, well, you got it. Figure it out. We're going to go about our way.
Because I think that honestly that's what he replaced things with. Trying to, number one, figure himself out, because that's why he was trying to get closer to his father so he could ultimately figure out who he is. And then once he went to Vietnam and found out your uncle didn't die here, that was the next step for him. But when nobody was there, I think that is just what left him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like you said, he didn't stay with whatever he's supposed to stay with. But I think that because he didn't have that, I feel like oftentimes it's harder for us to receive from the people that are close to us because we don't want to be as open or let them know certain things. Like, nobody wants to say, I'm an alcoholic, you ruined my life before, and, just completely tore me to shreds. But this bottle was sitting in front of me. Because he rode home with his mother that very same day.
Yeah.
Or the next day, something like that.
And she was sitting there explaining to Nikki why, I know you see Kevin as this celebrity that just came in and wants to save you and rescue you, but that's not really what it is. And she explained like literally every single detail, because we flash back to when he was a child and he found out that one of the baseball players was in town and he was being traded to another team, and he literally went and researched all this stuff, like his favorite things to do, hobbies and things like that, and was like, this is what you can do when you go to the next state that you're traded to. And for her, Kevin seemed really distant because she was like, I don't know what is going on, whatever. And when she went, she had to ask the baseball player, and he was like, you have a special kid. Like, he literally gave me all of this stuff that I need to do. And it's the same thing with Nikki. Like she said, he's so into minute details, and he takes time to invest in that, and people don't see it because of the way that he presents himself normally. So like when he was with Rebecca, he was looking like, I just want to hurry up and go. Like, you getting on my nerves, blah, blah, blah. But once she actually talked to that guy, she realized how important it was to him. And the same thing with Nikki. She knows that now because of that experience. Nikki doesn't know that. So Nikki seeing him is, like she said, this celebrity that's coming in and try to save you because it makes him seem like a good guy. And to be rejected on not just a level of we are family and I'm trying to keep us together, but I'm trying to complete something for you that my father chose not to do. It just seemed even worse. So that's 2 levels there. And then to have my siblings who I'm asking to help me on this journey say, you got this on your own, that's another one. It was a lot. And then, of course, would it be different? I feel like, yeah, if Nikki didn't have the alcohol sitting out, yes, I feel like it would be different. Because he would have to admit to himself, I'm going to go spend my money to go do this when I don't want to. But it was literally right there.
No, I feel like it would be different if he... How can I explain this? I feel like because he wasn't being real with everyone around him, it's easier to fall into that trap.
So you don't think when he told them, y'all really like doing me wrong right now, that wasn't him saying?
No, I'm not saying that I don't think that it wasn't him saying, but I think that ultimately it's our responsibility, if you are the addict, to share more. Because, I'm sure, of course they can't show it all in the little bit of time that they had, but in real life, I'm almost positive that 9 times out of 10, the people that are around you have told you several times, I'm here, but you got to tell me, like, I can't read minds. You got to share certain stuff. So,
but I don't think that can always be your go-to. Like, you can't be like, you know what, Beth, you know what, Randall, I know you got to get home to Beth and the kids. Kate, I know you pregnant and you going through whatever you're going through, but I'm about to have a drink, so you need to stay with me.
Yeah, because it's
no,
like,
no, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, if maybe in that moment, if he was saying, I'm a little shaky or whatever, then it would be, I feel like it would be on me as the person that's attached to say, you know what, and then go from there. You know what, I see that, it's something here, and maybe try to help. But what I'm saying is, you can't act like it's all you've been straight. You've been straight this whole time, and then expect me to. I feel like I'm not saying this the way that I want to say it, like. Because I feel like for the whole time he's been acting like he's so good. So then in that brief moment that we're talking about, that it was like everything is loading up. Of course, in my mind, I'm thinking they should have seen it because he said, clearly. But in their mind, they thinking because they got all this other stuff going on in their life, and he's been well this whole time, that he should be good. That one thing shouldn't tip him over. But of course, we don't really know what that moment will be, of course. But I just feel like it's ultimately whoever is in that predicament, it's ultimately their responsibility to get help if you really, really, really want the change. So, I mean, I don't know no better way to say that. So, I mean,
I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on this topic, guys.
Okay. And then, Toby and Kate, and now Baby Jack. So we can segue that into it because that's how Kevin ended up telling them that he was drinking, because, well, Kate had a feeling period, and she went, and they got the whole twin connection, and then she went into labor, which was early, 12 weeks early, months.
12 weeks.
Not months,
Definitely
clearly.
not 12
I'm not
months.
saying 12 months. I'm saying, was it 12 weeks or was it
We
actually
didn't even
months?
make the baby.
It was some weeks. It was some weeks early.
Yeah, so it was a couple weeks early, and she was with Kevin. Actually, she left her baby shower to go be with him because
because she saw it.
She was like, something's off. And when she got there, she realized he was drinking, blah, blah, blah. He went into labor, and he had to call Toby. Because he was like, he said, why can't you just take her to the hospital? Why can't you take her? And he's like, I've been drinking all day, and I cannot drive her to the hospital, which I think was very responsible of him, and I respected that a lot, because a lot of people feel like, I got it, I can handle it, and it'll be fine. But to respect,
he just didn't want to chance it.
And so I was super nervous when they had to go to the hospital, because I said, I never know with this show if we're gonna go to we're gonna do this, but it's gonna be positive at the end, or we're gonna do this and we're gonna let y'all really feel life. So when she went to the hospital, I was like, is she gonna have this baby and it's gonna die? I cannot handle this. Or is she gonna have this baby? Is something gonna be wrong? Whatever. So I wasn't really sure. So when they went to the hospital, and then there was a whole episode of them being in a waiting room, which just intensified all of that.
Right.
I was just,
which we learned a lot about Rebecca in that waiting room.
Yeah.
Time.
I was just like, ooh, Jesus, please. I was praying for Baby Jack before he even had a name. And when that happened, we finally get the baby. He's super small. He was on a ventilator, but he's here, which is a miracle in and of itself, because we know Kate has tried many, many, many times. And even when she got IVF this time, they were telling her, you're high risk. We don't know if it'll take. We're not sure. But for them to actually have the baby, I think was great. I'm happy that they let that happen. Thank you, Dan Fogelman. And just to see when Toby had to come out and express to the family, like, this is what it is. I don't think nobody's even dealing with how we got to this point. Like, nobody's talked about, Kevin's drinking or whatever. It was just like, we have a whole different problem to focus on. Like, now we worried about, Kate and the baby and all of this. And I think with Kate, she's super scared because she feels like I feel. Like, am I going to have this baby? Am I going to keep it? Is it going to be here? And then on top of that, now, how do I deal with this that I wasn't expecting? Like, I wouldn't know, like, as a mother. Like, sometimes they normally tell you, like, this baby is having difficulties or is not developing this or what have you. So you have some sort of idea. So, like, when my sister was little, we knew that she was going to have Down syndrome. So it was easier to be like, when she comes out, we know how to prepare for this. But when you don't know, and I guess, you're the only mother here, sorry. When you don't know and you're thrown into something, like, how can you learn to function, like, just, like, on the fly?
I think automatically your instincts kind of kick in with a lot of people. Some people it does not. Some people have to. Well, I say listen to the doctors anyway. Period. Even whether you feel like you got this or not. Just pay attention. And on all actuality, I don't want to really bring her many. Well, her mother. is a prime example of you do need someone with you, because as a mother and as a father, actually, yeah, the doctors may be talking, but you're so focused in on the baby at that moment that you're not really retaining the information. So I found it very helpful that Rebecca was like taking notes and things like that. However, I know the cutting off of Kate and the cutting off of like, oh, what did you say, doctor? Those type of things may be annoying, but they're vital. So because like I said, I mean, automatically, like I said, because I mean I had problems with DeMarco when he first was born. So automatically you that mother instinct kicks in, and all you can think about is, all I know is my child gonna live. All I care about is me giving that type of energy to my child. So you're not really focused on anything else that's going on, even though you may be present there. You're not really there, if it makes any sense. It's just like, it's just me and my baby. Yeah, doctor, give my baby, hold him tight, that type of thing. So my advice would just be to have one other person outside of the couple.
I think that's true. My nephew, when he was born and his mother and father was there, I was there, but I ended up being there because he came into the world late and I was off work. But it was some complications, and not like he was already out and everything, but it was just like, we need to take him and keep him and observe him. And his mother was like really, really nervous, and she was like, what does this mean, this and that. And of course I'm like, I'm hearing what the doctor's saying. I'm saying that you have emotion, but I can't give you this nervous energy, and I need to hear what they're saying, so when you calm down, I can tell you what was said. And now the father's there, he's trying to keep her calm, and he's himself worried, like, what's happening with my child, whatever. And so at the end, I was just like, listen, this is what it is. Don't put too much into it. You just do you, and we will just, as it develops, it's nothing to worry about right now. This is just what's happening. And of course, it was a couple days, but as time went on, it was a calm that came. But initially, it was just like, I just want my baby, and I want to leave with my baby. And it's just like, I don't understand that feeling because I'm not a mother. So I'm coming at it from a logical, like, how can we get this? How can we make both of these ends meet without there being an issue? So how can, as a mother, you have some sort of calm and understanding? How can, as a doctor, you're expressing what you're saying? Because doctors have to give you information without feeling.
Without that emotion.
And mothers are giving you feelings without proper information. So you have to literally merge the two.
I think it's just a process that you have to go through.
When I was like, it's just so rough. And I mean, I even talked to the baby when he was in there, and I was like, look, get yourself together because your mother's driving me crazy. And, fortunately, which is not the case for everybody, but fortunately in this case, he was fine. Everything's cool. He'll be one soon. So, it's been great, but it is rough. And I think the one part when they went in the waiting room, I think it was actually after the waiting room, when Toby came out and was talking to the other dad.
Oh, yes.
That, I think, was very important to see. And I love that they're doing that more with fathers being able to express their emotion when it comes to parenting. Because like Candace said, a lot of it, women feel like, I'm in control because it happened to my body. And I developed a relationship. And Toby was basically like, I don't feel what she's feeling for the baby.
Right.
But
he does have emotions about it.
Right. And at a certain point, because she's feeling the opposite, if he expresses how he feels, it seems like I'm going against you. When that's not what it is. It's just that I don't have your vision.
Right.
And when you see love and concern, I see things to be worried about. I see that how we going to handle this? Because they're thinking a different way about providing for you, and how am I going to maintain this life, and she's saying,
the
I
roles
need to
are
nurture
totally
you.
different.
Exactly. And it just was it was amazing just to hear him basically say to another parent, which I think was great. And he told him, like, and it wasn't funny, but I ended up laughing when he was like, just, you could be this person.
Yeah.
Like, that could be, they not taking their baby home.
Right.
You taking your baby home. Like, be
eventually,
grateful for that. And it was like, at least I'm not the such and such. And I was like,
but that's
so
how you
petty,
sometimes,
but that is what
that
you, like,
would
you do
get
need
you
to
through.
be grateful. And you need to understand, like, yes, your situation is not ideal, but it's a situation. Because some people don't even have one.
Yeah. It's so crazy because I was, I know you probably want to say something. I was at school. No, I was at my job the other day, and we had some substitutes come in, and everyone that knows me right now, I'm working with special needs children. So it's very different for me to see a substitute man. I've very rarely, since I've been there, this is the first time that I've seen a male come in. And
Are they? No, of course.
So I was like, so when he walked into the classroom, well, I'm in special needs, so it was kind of, it wasn't chaotic to me because I'm used to it, but it can be chaotic for someone.
Yeah.
So when he walked in, the first thing that he was saying basically was, and he just kept saying, So when we went outside, everyone was just having a conversation, and he stopped and he paused for a moment. He said, "You know what? More people just need to be grateful that, because this could be them."
Yeah.
And I just was just in that moment, I was just like, that's so true. Like, I mean, I say it all the time, you know what I'm saying? But, because someone's life is much harder than yours sometimes. And we look at it and we're like, but reality is, in that moment, everyone's life is different. So in that moment, to me, it may be very critical, but to someone else, it's not that dire, because they like, oh, I got bigger things, but that's your bigger.
Yeah.
This is mine.
Exactly.
That's yours. So, things shift. But
my mother always taught me to think of yourself as the middleman, because it's somebody that
Yep.
is above you,
you
and somebody that's below you. So you always realize that somebody has a worse situation, somebody has a better situation,
Yep.
and you're in the middle. So you should be pulling that person that's below you up and reaching up to the person that's above you.
Yep.
Because it will still be the same levels. So that's just always been the thing.
Yeah.
You have nothing to say about Kate and Jack? And
We
Y'all
said it
said
all.
everything, so couldn't get right in. Yeah, so whatever.
what you think about Rebecca and Kate and Jack? And I think it's funny because his name is Jack, and of course,
Right. So, Baby Jack. You talking about Baby Jack?
Baby Jack, yes.
Baby Jack?
I think that Rebecca just needs to learn her boundaries. So, I mean, she can sit back there and take her notes, but she just needs to spell things to the best of her ability. And I mean, honestly,
Brady Cardi, Brady.
obviously, I'm
She
in the
asked
medical
Siri.
field.
She asked Siri.
But we are in the technology field world, and they know everything. So she could have just got the notes from the nurse, and she will also get discharge paperwork that would say all of that stuff. But she's so old, so she probably didn't know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate her effort, but she knows Kate, and she knows that there's eggshells that she needs to walk on around Kate. So she needs to know her place.
True. That is true.
And as far as the communication, even with the doctor, there's a method that they use called heart, head, heart. Basically, you show emotion and empathy, and then you convey the message, of what's important, all the directions, details, blah, blah, blah. And then you close it out with the heart again, your emotion, your empathy, so that you can get what you have to say out to them, but let them know, hey, I'm still here. Kind of like when we were watching Grace the other day. Shout out to our Grace fans.
Yeah, shout out.
And Richard told Dalika, you gotta make the patients feel comfortable.
Right.
So, because even in that moment, it wasn't that the girl necessarily was, I mean, she was low-key flirting with him, and honey, he's taken, so chill out. But what she said at the end was, you see my body, you see how good it looks, don't leave no scars, don't mess me up.
Right.
So in that moment, Richard was correct. Like, she is fearful about something right now. And, just kind of feed into what she's saying. You do have to know the line. You do have to know when to cut it off. But, whatever. So that's just really, really just how I feel about the whole situation. Just staying your lane back.
I think that's a grandmother-mother thing, period.
I think it
where
is, yeah.
It's just the whole my parenting and your parenting. And I don't even have kids, and my mother's already talking about what she's going to do with my kids, and I'm already saying no.
Right.
So that's just
I just think that's
mindset.
a process.
And
But it's important to know that line. Like,
yeah.
my mother, once I grew up, I'm a village child. So at a certain point, my mother was just like, oh, you're not listening, go live with your grandmother. And at first, when I was younger, I was very pissed off with her. Like, oh, you just lazy mother. You just don't want to raise your own child.
God.
But when I talked to her when I got older, she was just like, your grandmother felt like she knew everything. So because I was being told all the time, and now this could be a cop-out, I don't really know, but it did make me understand it from a different perspective. And I still did tell her, well, if you felt like you wanted to raise me, tell her that this is your house and you're going to raise me. It does not mean to not do it. But you have to learn to stand your ground, but you also have to receive help, but tell them, you know what, we can receive help, but you got to talk to me privately. You're not going to correct me in front of my child. You're not going to always tell me what to do. You raised me right. So if you feel like you raised me right and you raised me correctly, exactly. So like, and I think people have to learn their lesson. So like with Bo and what's her name?
Zoe.
No. Dre's mother. I always forget her name on the show. Yes. So with Bo and Ruby, when they were having, yes, follow me, keep up. When they had to go talk to Diane. Shout out to Diane.
Oh God, Diane is doing so many amazing things. I never know
if her name is Marcel or Marseille.
I want to say they've been saying Marseille lately because she's on a press tour. They've been saying Marseille Martin. So.
Diane, I love you, girl.
She's amazing.
Marmar, I love you.
You don't. We're not doing this.
Yes, I do. So anyway, yes. Bo had to tell her, you know what, she's my child. Don't tell me that I can't talk to her. Even if there is a moment where you feel like you can reach her differently, it's certain things, children will disrespect you. And it's not even because it's not intentionally. Like, children go through stages where they feel like everything their teacher is saying is right. Like, she was just going at it with Ethan the other day because she was like, if you like peanut butter, just take it. It don't matter. And he was like, but Miss So-and-so said that so-and-so is allergic to peanuts, so we can't take it. She was like, what did I say? And he was like, but they said, just don't sit by the boy. But they said, and it's not that he doesn't respect what his mother is saying, but in that moment.
New knowledge. It's a lot.
It's like in that moment, what my teacher said is overpowering what you said, because when I'm at school, Lil Johnny is allergic to peanuts and he's my friend all under me, and I do not want him to die.
God, Mom, why don't you understand?
But if all I got in my house is some peanut butter, then that's what you gonna eat.
She has more than peanut butter, guys.
But has more than peanut butter.
But they actually like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and now they only taking jelly sandwiches because Lil Johnny is allergic to peanuts.
So considerate. It
is very considerate.
Be proud of yourself and stop fussing at them then. Dang.
But so there are boundaries that you have to teach children, because they will put other people's perspective. Like, for years, probably till I was like 20 something, because I'm 30 now, I was telling my mother like, whatever, because you didn't even raise me. But I had to. I mean, I was, but we are. Let's not talk about how you be talking to your mother.
And
I never ever disrespect my mother.
No, we are not going there.
I never ever disrespect my mother.
Let's not talk about the broom in the porch, girl. But. And I will not dummy smack you because I know that you be in pain. So I'll just straighten my own crown. Anywho, until I became an adult and we had an adult conversation. And when I was a child, I acted as a child. When I became a woman, I acted like one. So I understood differently. And we talked to each other. She also received better from me because it was more so like, you know what, I'm not talking to a child no more. And we could actually talk things out. But as children, you don't have those moments. So as parents, you have to create those boundaries. And you have to let people know, you know what, like, yes, we could talk about this, or we could talk about that. But we're not going to talk about it in front of my children, because at the end of the day, I'm their mother or I'm their father. Right. So I think that is the line that Rebecca and Kate have to put, but also they had a talk later. I know. I'll let you talk. They also had a talk later on when Rebecca came back and she was like, wait, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, you know what? The thing is, I just don't feel like I'll ever be as good of a mom as you are. And because she never feels like she's going to be as good as Beck for everything, singing, not looking fat, being a mother, being a wife, like all of that, she's never going to feel like she can live up to her standards. So it's always going to be a kind of like a jab, like, Mom, be quiet, please.
Because you show me again that I can't be like you.
Exactly. And
it's not intentional.
But the thing too,
it's not. I know. The same way that you said, people gotta know. So she knows that this is an issue for her. Back.
Yeah,
but
she was
Kate
like,
also
let me go that book. Let me go walk audio. Let me go walk audio because clearly I'm pissing you off. I'm gonna go to the dog
and she left the book there. Like,
but again, like Candace said, like she had to be understanding that. Well, the whole point that I feel like is if Kate saw like and I know it's different, but she literally sees that Rebecca had no problems. That's their understanding of the childhood. Randall has that memory of one fight that they had, which unfortunately was a fight that him and Beth had.
Because they all saw it different.
Yeah, and even
That's not
that
true.
scenario. No, that's the scenario of that plate when he tossed that plate.
Yes.
That's when him and Kate saw it differently, which I think is
Yeah,
very
I was about to
important
say that, yeah.
to speak about. But I don't got time for this. With that, it's just like sometimes parents do so much to not let children see that they too are trying to figure things out, that when kids get old, they feel like they can't come to their parents with their weakness because they've never seen that in their parents. So it's like, all right, I can't tell you that
That's
I'm
just like on A Million Little Things.
it's like
When
I
he
can't
was
tell
taking
you
those antidepressants. He felt like he couldn't tell his father, even though his father obviously was
was
dealing with some
depressed,
stuff.
exactly.
So
because it's like, okay, all right, every time I see you, you're being a great wife, a great mother, all of this. So if I'm just a new wife and I'm struggling, I'm not gonna come to you because you're just gonna be like, what? I'm sorry, peasant. I don't know anything about these problems that you're dealing with.
I would
Not that
never
that's
say
how
that.
you'll be, but once you in a certain place, in a certain position, people don't see that you have a way to relate to that. So people don't normally go to rich people and be like, I know you've been broke before. How does
Why
it feel?
wouldn't they?
Because they
I
don't
think there are
see that
two
perspective.
there are two different routes that you can take. There are people who will go and seek that advice. There are people who feel like they will not seek that advice
Yeah.
because it's like, you know what, I'm so far off bad. You don't understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
So it's kind of like now you be like, you're gonna have a man, you're gonna have a family.
Oh yeah, she do that a lot.
And I'm just like, girl, you keep saying that.
But
Pray
you
about it
coming from
because
the mountain.
I don't see it anymore.
Yeah. Like you're at a place where your vision is clear. You have these things. So to speak
Were
to
you
somebody,
being me?
she's
The first part, yes. So was.
and then it's like you can't relate to what we're feeling because you're so far removed from this feeling because you've been married for 18 years now. Exactly. So you're so removed
18
from
years. Had you for 18 years.
Oh my God.
you so far removed from the feeling of not knowing, from that question of am I gonna find somebody? It's like yeah, okay, you can relate, but you can relate to the music that we listen to now. You can't.
Yeah, because honey, you don't even understand this dating pool.
At
But
all.
please.
At
It
all.
is
It's
less
so
than
different.
it's less than a kiddie pool.
So
It's like a puddle.
Whatever.
girl,
It's
it's
like
a drop.
I jumped in. I broke my legs. It's the ground.
It's
Whatever.
a drop. So it's just like
Drip.
yes.
Drop, drip, drippity, drop.
You're not gonna, I was about
Whatever.
To say
I
something
don't
anyway.
even believe it.
But it's just like so the things that you can
need
relate to
to.
when you go back to when I was single. This is not even the same world anymore. Literally,
I
we was just
believe
talking
that.
about Pump It Up last time. Y'all remember how she was all like Pump It Up, Pump It Up.
But
blah,
you
blah, blah.
had it. You had it.
Oh, well,
I
didn't
had
have
it.
She had it.
But I did get it from an African hair store. They would not be selling. I'm sure they don't even use. I know what. I know they don't use it at the hair salon I go to.
But I'm saying that to say the ways that work for you have, not that they don't work, but they have been amended and the process is different now. So we can get the same end by going through a different process. So when you tell us, oh, you want your hair to be this way, use Pump It Up. First of all, the style that you're telling us to do that ain't even it no more. Now,
First of all, I use Pump It Up to lay
oh my
it
gosh, we are
down.
not worried about, that's just an analogy. We're not worried about Pump It Up. But
Like,
we're
y'all
saying
know
that
that
to
it's
say,
still vital.
in that scenario,
No, it's not, guys.
Yes,
That
it
bottle
is.
of Pump It Up I have
Yes,
is
it is.
full. You
No,
can
you don't know how to
have
properly
it.
use it. You
want it.
don't know how to properly
I
use
don't
it.
want stiff hair. I want my hair to flow.
No, when you want a
Gone with
laid,
the wind
let me tell you
fabulous.
something. When you want a laid ponytail that you be coming over here talking about, well, you ain't got to come on, but when you be over here, you talk about, can you lay my ponytail down like
You've
you
never
did?
used Pump It Up in
you
my
use
hair.
Pump It Up. You
Listen.
sure haven't.
I
You
use
use that
foam.
Mary's edge control.
Which is the best. Let me.
Okay.
I'm here
Anyway,
for it.
we are not getting paid for none of this
Exactly.
advertisement. But I'm just
She
saying
smokes
all of
Newport,
that.
guys.
To say,
Newport.
Newport Light. I'm
Don't
just
believe
saying
that,
all of
guys.
that
I
to say
don't smoke.
that in certain scenarios, especially with parents and kids, when you don't open that door to say, "Hey, this is something I understand," or I can relate to that, the kids don't ever come back and say, "Let me say this," because instead of seeing it as a way to engage with you, they see it as a way that will shame you.
Well, this
Because
is what
you are
I'll say
better
to
than
that.
that.
What I will say to that is these things come
Shame.
with
Remember that movie you like, Walk of Shame?
Yeah, she
Is
loved
that
that
what it's
movie.
called?
with what I will say to that is that I think that spending time with your kids individually will help with that barrier, because I feel like I have, excuse me, sorry you guys, a really good relationship, and I think that I have a good village also, that I understand that it doesn't take just me to help with my children. So I think that it's not that my generation or older generation cannot relate. I think that we just need to progress as you all progress. So I think that we can't be so stuck in what we were brought up on to think that it's not a better way. Now, what I can say is that I will share my way, and then we can come up with a way together. That's what I'll say.
That's good.
And I think that it needs to be times where you actually sit with your children individually and take time one-on-one with them, not just one time, not just two times, but during the course of their lives, to figure out where they are, so that they can know that, because during those times, like, certain stuff can happen within those times, and you realize that a conversation can just come up during that time that may not come up when we're in a total gathering. So it will give them more clarity of who you are, and it'll give them a more dang, I was great, creative word, I was great, say
Do it.
a
Might be
more
Webster so bad.
relatability to you.
Relate. They have a
Relatable.
word for
Yes.
it. There you go. they got you.
But
And
yeah.
so were you re-ating? So you ate something and you ate it again?
Yes.
Readability. There you go.
So,
Webster call us.
Literally.
Literally readability.
This is where her children get it from.
but anyway, I just think that they'll be able to relate.
Relate.
Why- I'm so tired.
Relax, relate, release.
Right. Relate a lot better to you, and understand that, oh, mom or dad may, understand because we talked about this, so maybe, those type of things. So I just think that if we are willing to progress, then the children can relate.
I agree. Now in the finale, season 3, we see that Toby is showing up at the house to see Rebecca, and he says they're on their way, and he said Jack. So I was already excited because I didn't know if we was taking his baby home and then something was gonna happen. But for him to say Jack, I was like, great, he's still alive, he's well.
Yeah, because you
whatever.
have to tickle his feet in order for him to breathe. So
That's true right now, yes. And it just, I think Randall was kind of like, I'm shocked that you're here.
what?
Oh,
No, I was great. Oh, you said he said that she was shocked. No, I just wanted to make sure because I had a gasping moment in this episode with Beth and Randall.
We haven't
I know,
gotten
we
it
haven't gotten
it
because
yet,
so I
y'all
know.
want to keep
But-
talking about all these other couples.
but yeah, so at the very end of season 3, her episode, which is the finale, Toby's there. He takes his hat off and he's just like, they're on their way. I don't know. There's been a lot of speculation that him and Kate are not together because he's not wearing a wedding ring.
I was going to say, yeah.
It was a lot going on. So
I got to go back and focus.
I need to see
if he ever wore red, because
what's
usually
gonna
I pay
happen with
attention to
that.
that type of stuff, and I
Yeah.
didn't these episodes.
I need to see what's gonna happen with that. But
When did they get married?
remember when her father was at the wedding when his ghost was there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was that beautiful wedding, and she left something. They had to go back and get it.
Yes,
and
the jersey.
it was a whole big thing.
And yeah.
But
That's when they just smashed that car, right?
yes, that is what that was.
She's come so far.
Yes, she has.
Ugh, we
But
didn't even talk about her.
We will get into
Yeah,
that
'cause y'all keep
in this
on talking.
in our next episode about This Is Us. Yeah.
Oh God, it's just so much in this daggone episode, guys. I really honestly don't even know what to say.
You sure? You said so much.
Oh my God! I do know what to say. It's just so much because this show is just so rich. So we just gotta keep on talking to it. I know, rich. I'm always using that word. We gotta keep on talking about it. But you're gonna have to listen to our next episode. But until that time, you all can email us at blackgirlbroadcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on social media on Instagram at blackgirl.broadcast_BGB, on Twitter at BLKGRL Broadcast, and on Facebook by searching Black Girl Broadcast.
And we are everywhere you want to be. So just find us on your favorite podcast site and just search for Black Girl Broadcast. Subscribe and comment and rate us and tell everybody about us because we are amazing.
So until the next time,
Learn yourself. so you can help to teach people to learn you.
Speak up when you need help.
That's it. That's all.